everyone! I felt like for my body series I needed a little more help, so I reached out to HeyKayli Morton, who is a therapist that specializes in eating disorders. I want to thank all of you who have reached out to me on Facebook and Twitter telling me about Katie. I wouldn't have known about her without you guys, so I can't thank you enough. I'm really excited to have her on to help us with some of these issues. How are you doing? I'm really nervous.
I know.
You are?
I am. It'll be okay.
You look really pretty though.
Usually I feel like really prepared.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I can't get in like that place.
Well, I think it's not something you're really prepared for.
Yeah.
Because
I like to prepare.
I know, I do too.
And I like to have notes usually. And I was just like, thanks. I'm just gonna go with it.
Just fly off the cuff, just let it happen.
You can do it if you alone.
HeyKayli, BYS 0001, scene 1, take 1, marker.
Alright, here we go, and action.
Hello everyone! Today I am here with two very special guests. Casey is back, and I'm really excited to dig into some more topics with you. You ready?
I hope so.
I hope so too. And I'm so excited for you guys to finally meet Katie. This is HeyKayli Morton.
Hey guys.
Do you want to tell them a little more about your channel? I kind of mentioned that you specialize in eating disorders, and you're a psychologist?
I'm an MFT.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know, I have a channel on YouTube. You can just search me, Katie Morton. I'm an MFTI, which means a marriage and family therapist intern, but I finished my hours as of yesterday. Yeah.
Yay.
So what that means for random people is you collect 3,000 hours and you take your licensing exam. So I'm in the process of doing that. I have a channel on YouTube where I talk about eating disorders, self-harm behaviors, anything relating to mental health, and just kind of getting it out there, raising awareness, letting people know they're not alone. It's not something that's we need to be ashamed of or scared of. And there's a lot of other people out there feeling just the way you're feeling.
Right. I really love your channel, and I really hope that any of you who are searching for answers or need to feel connected to someone will check out Katie's channel, because she covers everything. Everything. It's so great what you're doing, and I can feel how much you care about all of your viewers, which is such an amazing thing. So thank you for doing that, and I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
And I have a hunting channel on YouTube.
Tell us a little more
I'm
about
glad
that.
I'm around some people that actually do good.
You do good too. That's good too. So Casey and I were on last week talking a little bit about our relationship during my eating disorder and how we really didn't have much communication. So I thought it'd be really nice to have you on to kind of help with that and help maybe answer some viewer questions, because I think a lot of people have a hard time communicating with their partners.
Yeah, and definitely, and I mean, you can probably attest this, as a guy-girl relationship, men are usually afraid to say anything about weight, figure, food, and because it's all been told since we're young as a no-no. Like,
Yeah.
Don't say anything, you keep it,
And not just we're told as young, but like past experiences tell you don't do that.
Exactly, because it won't be, people
Yeah.
won't respond the way that you're hoping they'll
Yeah.
respond.
Yeah, right. Well, I think especially with an eating disorder, because you can offend someone struggling with an eating disorder so easily. You can't say the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't believe, because you can't be too supportive, or you need to be supportive enough, and you need to be there at the right time, and you need to say the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's just impossible to do that.
Well, and I think it is that way because it's so emotionally charged. It's not just like if you decide to eat or not eat, it's whatever. It doesn't have any tie to how you feel. But when someone has an eating disorder, it's I feel bad, I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel whatever, and I'm going to use food to deal with it. And so because it's so tied, by saying anything about it, we're tapping into that emotional charge. So then it feels like a wound, like how dare you, and we automatically like feel hurt.
Right.
So it can be really hard.
And that's something that I wondered about when we were talking earlier. I didn't know if you knew the emotional side of an eating disorder, because I think a lot of people think they just want to be skinny, or they don't understand that it's a way to kind of hurt yourself. It's self-harm. And I don't know if you, when I was going through that, really realized that.
No.
Yeah, I think it's a common misconception because people will think that it's vanity or it's tied to the fact that our, society tells us look this way, look that way. Even for guys, everybody feels that pressure. But when you have an eating disorder, it's usually attached to a bad experience or an overwhelming emotional experience and not having any coping tools. Like you go hunting. That's probably a great outlet for you. you know, get in the zone, you do your thing. It's your way of getting out, you know. It's probably why you miss it and you want to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's your way to, like, get back to who you are and feel okay. And we all have to have those. And sometimes when we don't, then it can turn into something unhealthy, like an eating disorder or self-harm. Some people, you know, binge eating, binge drinking. It can be a bunch of different things versus finding something that just feels good, just being you, not using anything,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It can be embarrassing to communicate what you're going through and what you've done. You know, I still don't want Casey to know all the things. And that's another reason why I love your channel. You talk about binging and purging. You talk about abusing laxatives, you know, all of these things that can be really embarrassing about talking about. And, you know, I don't feel like we've talked about that. And I don't really know if I want to.
I always tell my viewers, I'm like, our eating disorder, our self-harm, whatever it is, it thrives in the secret because we feel so ashamed, and so that shame grows because as people enter our life that are important and we want to bring them in, and when you're in a marriage, even just in a serious relationship, you let that person in past the point of, I'm okay if they go away, you know, you're past that. It's already, you're very vulnerable, and so sharing things that it's in that deep, dark place, and the more we talk about it, it actually loses that power.
Right.
And it's not as scary as we think that they're going to interpret it as.
Right.
Because the binging and purging is really, it's, imagine like if you haven't been able to hunt for a really, really long time and you're like craving it, like, sweet Lord, let me get out, like, you're, you know, and then you want to go on this long trip. Probably like my dad used to go on these 3-week trips, right? And he'd come back with a huge beard and a bunch of, you know, deer, and that would just be what happened, you know? But that's kind of the way that they would binge, but it's crunched into this time frame, and they're like, okay, I'm going to be alone, and I can just get this out of the way, I can get my fix, and then I'm going to purge, and it'll be done, and then, I know it's kind of weird that's my easiest connection.
No,
so I'm
it
like,
makes sense to me. Like,
yeah, they crave it, and it's a weird emotional release, I guess. There are a lot of people out there who do it, and it's not, I'm not saying, oh, it's okay, it's no problem. It can be really hard, and it can be embarrassing, but it's something that we do to get a release.
Right.
And there's no shame in it. The more we talk about it, the less you'll feel that way,
Right.
to be honest.
Right. And I also feel like at the time when I was really struggling, I wanted to let Casey in enough, but not enough to take that away from me. You know, I didn't want anything to take my eating disorder away. So that's something else that I feel like I've talked about earlier. I put this kind of a wall up, this lack of communication, because I wanted this separate thing. I wanted this to be mine. So.
And a lot of people feel that it's like a, I don't know, it's almost like it's your own special thing. It's your own unique thing. Nobody knows, nobody can understand. And it's what makes me unique. All of my girls will, on their Twitter or whatever, if they're creating a page, it'll say about their eating disorder. That's their description of themselves. And so I always encourage people, and this might even be helpful, something you can take time to yourself to think about who you are that doesn't involve anything to do with this, which I know you're not struggling now,
Right.
but we still have to define who we are, and it has to be around things that make us feel good, that are healthy things, you know, from mother to, if you like arts and crafts, because I know you do that kind of stuff, and things that feel good to you, and just reminding yourself, like, there's more to me than any body image, random stuff, because we still feel it, you know?
Right. That is what happened the moment when I had my little girl. I wanted to give myself to her. She filled everything inside of me. I no longer wanted this secret, this thing that was all mine, because I had this little girl to share the world with, to share all of me with. So I feel like that was, not that I didn't feel that way about you.
wow.
You know, but I just felt like that completed our family, and I wanted to share everything with her.
And I did a video on pregnancy and eating disorders, and a lot of people feel like it went away. Oh my gosh, where'd it go? Because there's something greater, there's something bigger, there's somebody else that is utilizing our body for its life, and we wanted that baby so much or whatever, and so for some reason we can somehow break through it.
Right.
And some people will come right back after they're done breastfeeding or whatever, once it's done using your body. I know it sounds bad, but in a way it's like it utilizes our body to survive, and once it's done doing that, we may go back to it, or we may realize, I have this child that's counting on me to be strong, to be a good mother, father, whatever, you know, and we can...
Something I wondered about that, because I felt like I felt that way. When I had Braylee, it went away and I felt better. But I didn't deal with a lot of like the emotional things. I kind of just shoved them inside and felt like they went away until I started doing this body series a year ago. And then I just kept having breakdowns because I kept remembering and thinking about how much pain my viewers were in because they were writing to me and commenting, and I was like, I didn't deal with any of this, you know?
And I think that's why, even just talking about it, it's very emotional. It's always right here. You know, you feel it, because we do have to talk about it, even though it's uncomfortable. And I know you've said like the communication kind of helped your relationship and also kind of hurts it sometimes because even though guys pretend maybe we don't want to talk that much and it's kind of uncomfortable and they don't know how to bring things up, but it does help for Casey to know how you're feeling and what's happening so that he can be a better support the same way you do for him, you know? And
Let's cut there.
yeah, the more you talk about it, the less you feel like crying about it. It's like
I just took a long break from it. And so today I was like,
it dug everything up.
yeah.
It's like anything that's hard. If you've had anything painful, if you don't deal.
HeyKayli, BYS 0001, scene 2, take 1, marker.
Okay, so I've talked a little bit about the way that I was feeling and like that wall that I put up. Do you feel like it was easier just to leave that wall up and not talk about it?
Definitely, like, knowing my personality, you know how I am.
Right.
Like, we get in a fight, like, I'm not the guy to, like, go and try to talk to Kaylee and talk the fight out. Like, I just want to be left alone. And so when something like that serious comes up, you know, and you weren't willing to talk to me about it, I was like, great, you know, like, 'cause I always feel like I'm probably not the best to talk to people about serious stuff because I make jokes and sometimes that doesn't, like, please people, but yeah, it's always easier when there's something serious or embarrassing that, you know, not to talk about it.
Yeah, because it's easier to leave it
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to stir up or
Yeah.
what's going on. So now coming back to it, like almost being forced, sorry, to like talk about it, do you feel, I mean, did it make you nervous coming into the videos or?
No, not really. I mean, the way I look at it now is, you know, I feel like Kaylee she went through her struggle, and you know, it was a long struggle, and now she's trying to use that struggle to benefit other people and help them, and not only that, but you know, we have an 8-year-old daughter that, you know, now that I know all this stuff about eating disorders and you know, self-harm and stuff like that, it's, you know, I want to talk about it. I want to learn about it. So I know, you know, how to handle my 8-year-old daughter, you know, when she starts going or having these feelings.
Yeah.
So.
Like what the warning signs are.
Yeah.
How do I, as the man in her life, even bring it up if I am concerned?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's always tricky. That kind of stuff is, you know,
Right.
what we'll keep talking about.
Because I do have a big fear of that, of raising Braylee after suffering with an eating disorder. I don't want to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and I worry about things maybe a regular person who hasn't struggled with an eating disorder worries about. So,
Yeah.
you know, we plan on talking about that a little bit more next week. So that will be good. Katie can help us out a little bit. So, any tips for...
Yeah, I mean, something that can help if any of you out there have a loved one or you have someone that's close in your life. And I know in my videos I always tell my clients to be very careful about who you tell. Make sure that they are someone who cares about you and it is a serious relationship, because again, we don't want to open ourselves up just to get hurt. If it's someone who's, maybe you have one of those volatile relationships where you're broken up and you're together, you're broken up. We don't want to do that. But if it's someone who's very close to you, could be your mom, could be your husband, could be your serious boyfriend or best friend. You know, first of all, taking time to yourself to journal, even video blogging for yourself or typing on your computer, whatever your easiest way of outlet is, to kind of put together what you want to say. Because like I always say, we don't want to dump. We don't want to I always call it like purging. It's like another way for us to almost use that same thing, just purging the information. And then kind of, I don't want to deal with, there's all it is. But instead, thinking about it, taking our time, little by little, you know, letting people in.
Right.
And
I mentioned before that the time that Casey and I opened up to each other the most about what I was going through was when he was on his mission and we were writing letters back and forth, and that really, really helped me. So I really suggest writing a letter if you're having a hard time communicating your feelings, because I do tend to have a hard time.
No, and being on the other end of that, you know, for me to read a letter and be able to ponder that letter and think about it and the thoughts was a lot easier than having you up front, you know, like tell me about it and just be blown away. So definitely a great outlet, I think.
Yeah, versus deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Like, how do I handle this, you know? And so I think that's a great way for anybody to reach out for that first time if you're feeling really anxious and it's something that's really stressing you out and you don't really know how to deal with it. I think that's a great first step.
And I do love your jokes. I feel like I'm so grateful for your personality and for everything that you've done. I think that if you would have been too supportive, I would have been really scared off. And joking is not always a bad thing. It helps lighten the mood, and it's helped me.
Totally.
So thank you so much for being here. I love
You're
you.
welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we'll have to have you back. And of course, Katie, I'm so excited for you to be in these
Of course,
videos.
happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy. So make sure that you guys check out Katie's channel. Like I said before, she has amazing videos and she really touches on anything that you could ever think about. So be sure to check out Katie's channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.